Hey everyone, how you doing today? Mike back with the Lumberjack Landlord. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome, Mike, and super excited about this topic. I saw you cover a little bit with Dickerson yesterday, and he's a developer, and I was like, I really want to hear what Mike has to say, what he has to say about this, what Greg had to say about it. And so I was interested to hear what he had to say. And it seems like even him, as a generational developer, right?
Yeah.
And decades after decade of development, he's given it some credence. And quite frankly, I'm a
Yeah.
tech guy evaluating tech in the building sector,
Yeah.
and it's the real deal. It's
Yeah.
legit.
Yeah. So if you haven't picked up on it yet, folks, we are talking about 3D printed housing. And
Yeah.
really how this came up is, there's a talk track around affordable housing. We need more
Yes. Mhm.
under the current rules of land and permitting and all of that. It is very impractical and
Right.
unprofitable to
Right.
build affordable housing.
Correct.
However, there is a very good chance, based on what I've learned here recently, and we're going to learn more right now, that
Yes.
3D printed housing with concrete might be the answer. So I'm just going to sit back and listen. What have you learned? What are you doing? Is it an answer? Is it a toy? What happens?
So yes, no, yes. But we'll go into more depth. So
Thank you.
yeah, like the best 2-minute video ever.
Ever. Right there. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, no, yes. Got it.
But so yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it's very real.
Okay.
The very first one that made it to market in the US, was done and printed and put together. It took them 90 days start to finish. The printing of the house wasn't the time frame, right? It was you still got to put it on a slab, and you still have to finish it with a wood roof, largely speaking.
Yeah.
And that's the whole truss structure and all that other stuff. You still have to pull wire through conduit, and then you still have to, you still have to have electric and kitchen just like you normally would in a house. And so the building of the actual shell, extremely fast, like days. And they're running it from an iPad or a tablet.
That's amazing. So
Like,
I got a couple of questions on Greg's videos. Let's just answer now. So what I'm envisioning is basically this big head stuck to a cement mixer, just pouring a form,
Yep.
over and over. And it probably stops at some point so you can lay down conduit, so you can pull wires through, right? Then you put cement over it. Somebody's like, well, how do you get the wiring in the house? Well, it's part of the plan, right? At 2.5 feet up, you stop, you put all these wiring, you put in the plumbing, the copper, the whatever it is, and then you just keep going, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's like, and the crazy thing is like, there's, so there's two main players in the space. One is called SQ4D, and the other is called SQ4D.
Okay.
And you're welcome for the free advertisement, SQ4D. But you can go watch their video on the house actually being built, because it literally, I want to say it was only a couple of days, 1,900 square feet.
Wow.
Think about this, Mike. They were able to sell that house. It's in New York. They were able to sell that house where other competing houses around it, based on costs, selling for $500,000 to $600,000. They were able to sell this house for only $299.
And I want to be very clear. They were able to profitably sell the house at $299, because anybody could sell a house at $299.
Same margin.
Yeah. Same margin.
Yeah. Wow. Same margins. Yep.
All right. Yep. So why is it not a bigger deal? Is it still kind of in an infancy and kind of proving it out? Yep. And,
it's the government doing its thing, which is, they sadly, they're not innovative. Government is slow.
Yeah.
And very deliberate. And I think the crazy thing is that this is actually helping solve a lot of problems in Europe. And where this gets really big too is in places like Africa and continents like that, where imagine a 600 square foot hut, if you will.
Sure.
Versus, and they're not, no huts that big. And you see these dilapidated houses in all these third world countries. Imagine being able to build something like that for between $5,000 and $6,000.
Yeah, just a square, right?
Square, if you want to, yeah.
Wow.
And in those houses, they have a couple outlets. They may or may not have running water. Like, this really, you want to talk about a market that I'm really attracted to, I'd probably be looking at concrete.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's what these guys use, like a hybrid concrete. And you can change the formula of the concrete depending on what your area weather is like.
So if it gets freezes, you probably want a different mix than if it gets
Yep.
hot. Okay.
Yep.
One of the questions I got on Dickerson's note the other day was, would California ever pick something up like this? Because obviously we are known for having earthquakes, right? Brick's not a thing we have here, not a lot of anyway.
Sure.
I mean, is there a concrete mix that's maybe okay in an earthquake?
I would think so. I mean, I would think that California, while being the first to probably need it, will probably be the last to approve it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
You know, it's like you need it really badly. You have a major homeless issue in every one of the major cities in California.
Yeah.
This would absolutely fix those problems. I think the technology is there now for single level.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. And
second floors and third floors, they're talking about them. They're innovating. They're trying to do that because they know that just like steel was in the early 1900s, that's going to be their game changer.
Right.
The difference is, though, is that if towns could think outside the box at all on any level, they could look at it and say, hey, this gives us a 600 square foot structure with living room, dining room, and you know, maybe a couple of bedrooms and a bathroom, a couple of bathrooms, or a bathroom.
Yeah.
You can pour it out on a monolith slab, which just means a monolith slab is a single pour. And then you build on top of that, and then you put your roof structure on top of that. Now, through an earthquake, what they don't tell you is this is not like a single 4-inch wall.
Okay.
It's a 4-inch wall, usually like an 8-inch gap that you can put insulation and conduit and all the plumbing and all that stuff in between.
Okay.
And then you have another wall. Then those are tied together. So it's a really cool concept. I think that I would love to see what earthquake testing looks like. I mean, the only challenging part is like you literally have to build something and hope for an earthquake. Like, I don't know how you test for earthquake.
Well, I'm sure there's way to do it. Yeah. There's people that figure that out.
Yeah. So it'd be awesome to kind of see what that is. But with that double wall scenario and the fact that then the roofing structure on top of it, like even with that weight kind of crashing and crumbling and, you know, things cracking and moving, I don't know necessarily how that would collapse.
In the current models that you've seen, are they laying rebar every, you know, foot of cement, or is it just literally just like a printer, just higher and higher?
There's stuff that they're doing with the printer printing, but the printer's printing like maybe something 4 inches across with its head.
Yep.
And then there's there's ways that they connect the inner wall and outer wall, because those are basically being poured at different times.
Understood.
If you will.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen how much additional rebar gets put in, but obviously your normal slab is rebar. They're not 3D printing your slab.
Right.
You know, that you're just basically accompanying in, you're putting your forms in the ground and saying it needs to be an X foot slab, and then they just dump a bunch of concrete. But that's one of the more exciting things. Like, I actually did a massive landscaping project with all, custom made concrete. And I was shocked at how resilient that stuff was. Like, you know, when you first get like a little tiny crack in concrete and then it just spiders, this stuff, when they would actually make it look like stone, they would actually take a grinder and cut a 1/2 inch deep to make those stone shapes.
Yeah.
And we didn't have one crack. After 3 years, we didn't have one crack in that stone. And that was all because it was a special kind of concrete.
Interesting. Because
it still went through the same normal wintertime. They had rebar underneath and it was all that supported, but we didn't have any of those cracks or anything spider webbing or nothing. It was like this can be the wave of the future. What's going to take governments to do is getting out of their own way, recognizing that so long as it gets passed as safe, like we should push the go button and be quick.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm hearing you say is 3D printed housing can solve affordable housing, will significantly lower the entry price. Sure. Governments check the safety, right? You don't want to put anything out there that's not.
Of course.
Single level for now, which frankly is good enough. There's lots of land out there, at least in most areas. It can be tweaked for weather, right? It's cold in the north, warm in the south. Obviously, they figured out how to lay plumbing and electrical and all of that. They have places to, you know, at joints, they have places to get into it in case it breaks in the future. These are all questions I've had. What's the downside? Is there a downside?
I think
like, here's one. Could you, adding on to it would probably be like, if you were going to like add on to it in a decade, that's probably not easy.
Yeah, that's not easy. I mean, I think that, you know, the downsides that I see are here. So another upside is no sheetrock. and
Yeah.
no studs. No
Okay.
studs. Like
Yeah.
you're able to hang. And what's really cool is that you can actually smooth the finish on the inside. It
Right.
actually looks pretty cool from the outside. The hold paint concrete does. Like you have to just use a concrete paint.
Yeah.
So the only downsides I see certainly, are additions.
Okay.
I don't know what their thought process is for a crack in a wall, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that will come, and what's
Right.
that crack from, and then how do you fix it? One of the amazing things, Mike, is SQ4D offers I think it's SQ4D, one of the two, offer a 50-year warranty.
Wow. The other thing I just thought of, because we're in California, or I'm in California, is termites. Last time I checked, termites don't eat concrete.
Well, Mike, I'm thinking about this from a low income housing perspective.
Yeah.
So the things that from low income, and quite frankly, across the spectrum, I don't usually do carpets.
Right.
Because they get ruined as fast as they get put in, right?
Exactly.
Carpets aren't going to be a thing in this place. You can use throw rugs.
Yeah.
Sheetrock, holes in sheetrock, that's gone. Yeah. Termites in wood, infestation in wood, gone. The time to put stuff in, gone.
Wow.
Like you are really, really reduced in what you're going to be putting into these properties. And so, yeah, maybe no additions. The roof is still going to be a real roof, as far as truss structure and things like that, maybe even LVLs. Probably. But again, if you're basically, I see the play being, companies that are building those roofs off site and then dropping them off. Exactly.
You're going to have that's the whole idea, right? You're running it from an iPad. It's the same print every time. Just build the freaking roof somewhere else and ship them in every other day or whatever it is.
Well, then imagine this. You've got your house getting built on a Thursday and Friday, and then the roof comes in on Monday on a truck and then gets put in place with a crane.
Yeah. And, in theory, you could get
structure done.
Yeah. In theory, you go from slab to putting on the roof in under 2 weeks, in theory.
Correct.
Wow.
And then it's a matter of, pulling wire, making your connections for your plumbing and things like that. Like they did it in 90 days, but this place was really nice. And so they definitely used it as a show off thing. So I know I could do, for me, I know that I can do faster on those other trades things because they're not a building company. They're a technology and infrastructure company.
Well, that, and they were trying to prove it. They wanted, I'm sure they were trying to learn throughout the process, right?
Sure.
So I guess here's the biggest question I have is what state, if you were to put money down, right? I understand it's like looking at the roulette wheel. What state you think is going to be first to give this a go?
It's a tough one. I mean, California and New York need it the most.
So they'll be last.
The worst. They'll be the worst regulatory.
Yeah, they'll be last.
I think Texas.
I was going to say Texas too. Yep. It'll be someone down there, right? Texas, Minnesota, Mississippi, Louisiana.
Yeah, it's gonna. I think personally, it's going to be Texas because of all the land. Like you have land in those other states, but you have such massive, like, I own 100 acres in Texas. Yeah, I own 1,000. Well, I own 5,000.
Exactly.
And now you're still talking about one county.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, so it's, these massive swaths of land down there. And I think that,
Texas
if you can
be first. Yeah.
Yeah. And hurricane wise, here's the other cool thing. They don't have square corners. They have rounded corners. So wind flushes around, like it's aerodynamic.
Wow.
So you might lose your roof, but think about that from an insurance perspective.
Yeah.
The house is 100% fine, but you only lose your roof. Well, what's my cost? I don't have to rebuild my house because it's in a pile of rubble.
Right.
Now all I have to do is put a new roof on top.
Yeah. Some water damage. Yeah. Which is just stuff, right? You're not going to really damage the walls. Yeah. This is exciting. I gotta poke around a little bit more, but yeah, I think, like you said, I think California's last. It's just always last when they have a real problem, they don't want to look for the solution.
Sad but true. But yeah, I mean, I think that a place like Texas, I think that
go Texas.
And I'm just going to put a theory out there and just a thought.
Yeah.
But Bill Gates, now the largest landowner in the U.S.,
I saw that,
has about 1 million acres, right?
Yeah.
What if, he's a technology guy, right?
Yeah, he is.
So a planned community like Summerlin, Nevada.
There you go.
That was a planned community, amazing community. I mean, not these types of houses, but amazing community, all centrally planned. Yeah. And like everything makes sense there. Like I love Summerlin, Nevada. And so, can you then do central planning a whole lot better? To Dickerson's point, he's not wrong. What government has to do is A, approve it, but B, they have to give more density because this doesn't make sense putting a 600 square foot or 900 square foot home on what now takes a 3,000 square foot home because you're 3 levels high.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
that's
Very
the
cool, man.
improvement.
This is a lot of fun. Man, I look forward to our conversations on Friday.
Always.
All right. Everybody, make sure you do me a favor and go follow immediately the Lumberjack Landlord. He has an amazing content.
Thanks, Mike.
And yeah, he is doing amazing things. We need to support him. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that.
You got it.